What's up everybody, Rick here, Canine Solutions Dog Training with part 2 of your remote collar training series. I sure hope you're ready for this because I sure am. Let's go. Check out all the cool stuff I got on the table today for you guys. So in part 1, we went through the differences between shock collars and remote collars and how they've evolved over the last decade or so and how they've become one of the most efficient training tools on the market. Today, I'm going to go through collar selection, different brands, sizing and fit, as well as different contact points so that you can understand what's going to be the best collar setup for you and your dog. So let's start off to my left. Here we have a system by the company named Dogtra. This is what's called their Arc System. If you notice, it has a curvature inside of the receiver here. It's meant to fit snugly around your dog's neck. Now I want you to pay attention to some things that I'm going to say regarding strength. This is a medium level collar. Again, a very durable brand, long usage, has really come a long ways over the years. Very simple, easy to use remote. It's going to be waterproof. Going to have a long distance. Most of these things have between half to 3/4 of a mile range. We don't really use Dogtra here that much. No reason why we don't, but it's a very good brand to use as well. Next on the list is going to be our mini Educator System from eCollar Technologies. Now this is the one where about probably 95% of our clients that we do remote collar training on goes home with. Main reason we use this system is because it's a very simple system to use. The remote is pretty simple. You got a stim button, a boost button, and a vibrate button. That's it. There's nothing more to this remote, and this can do up to 2 dogs if needed. This is also considered a medium strength collar. The next system right here in our series is the Pro Educator System. This is the one we use in-house mostly because it has a lot more functions than the mini Educator System. Just like the name implies, it's primarily aimed towards the professional trainer. It has a number of different types of functions that you can use for your dog. Most of them I haven't even used before myself. The other big thing about this collar system is you can do up to 3 dogs on this one. So you'll see how we have ours labeled here, dog 3 and dog 4. And that will go with the corresponding dog collar at the other end of the game here. The receivers on these 2 systems are exactly the same. Why? Because they are the same. They're both medium strength collars. No matter how hard you push this button, no matter how high you go up in this number, it's going to max out at a medium strength because there's stronger collars on the market and there's weaker collars on the market. And here's an example. This system here is called the Micro Educator. It's mainly pointed toward dogs about 20 pounds or less and or even smaller. You'll notice the size difference in the receivers themselves. This one's going to be a little bit shorter and mainly the weight. This weighs about half as much as this one does. This is a low level collar. So the remotes are identical in the mini Educator and the Micro Educator. Although the mini, it comes in yellow standard and the micro usually comes in purple, and I think it does say micro on it. We just changed the skin colors because it doesn't get as dirty and black. But the remotes are exactly the same. They do exactly the same. But 100 on this system and 100 on this system are gonna feel different on the other end because again, mini is a medium strength. The micro is a low level strength, mainly towards those smaller dogs. Then there's also high level collars. We don't have any here in-house right now, but eCollar Technology makes one, which is called the Boss, and you'll see the receiver is going to be probably about twice the size of this mini system here. And also, the remote is actually larger as well. Again, it's gonna look identical, but it's gonna be mostly larger, but 100 on there and 100 on here, 2 different things for sure. So you have a low, a medium, and a high level system. You need to figure out which one is going to work best for your dog. It doesn't mean small dog, small system. It doesn't mean large dog, large system. Generally, yes, it does. But I've had some dogs, 120-pound plus mastiffs, work on micros. And I've also had little yappy dogs that work on big boss systems. So it all depends what's going to work best for your dog, because strength doesn't always mean the size of the dog. You see these two little points right here? This is what does all the work in your remote collar. If these two things are not touching your dog's skin, it's not working. It's one of the most common problems we have here is getting consistent contact with the dog. So all these companies have come out with different variations of contact points. Let's start here. The basic points, the ones you see on that mini system right here. These are the basic standard points that come with the mini Educator system. They come with, I believe these are 1/2 inch, and they also come with a 3/4 inch set for longer fur dogs. So if your dog has really short fur, short fine fur, then these may work. But if you have a big old German Shepherd with long fur, or a doodle who hasn't had their hair cut, you're gonna need long points for them. That's where we jump into the next set. These are what's called thick fur points. They're 3/4 inches in length, and they have a little nipple right on the end. That nipple is meant to cut underneath the undercoat of the dog. All long fur dogs, most long fur dogs have a double coat. So underneath that shaggy coat on the outside, there's a thick, dense undercoat layer. That's what that's meant to do, is cut through that last layer and get contact with the skin. Remember, you have to have contact with the skin. We use these quite often here. Very, very good for German Shepherd, Husky, anything with dense long fur. Now, what if you have a really shaggy dog? Maybe a long-haired German Shepherd. Long fur points. These are 1 inch in length. These are going to stretch through that long outer coat and all the way down into the base layer coat. These will get the most efficient contact with anything with really, really long fur. Well, what about these? Don't they look very similar to the other ones that we had? Not really. So these are actually hypoallergenic points. Some dogs tend to have a natural localized reaction to any of the steels involved in the other points. So these are made out of titanium. And what they do is they minimize the risk for any localized reactions. They still have a nipple on the end, but not as fine as the undercoat version. What's this thing right here? A comfort pad. If you're going to have the collar on your dog for extended periods of time, you want to have something where a dog's not going to get any breakdown. Because if you're going to have it on your dog for anything over about 10 to 12 hours, you're potentially going to have breakdown because it needs to be snug enough where it doesn't move. So this spreads that load out a little bit over 4 contact points. This is the short hair version, and there is a long hair version as well. What in the heck is this contraption? I know, it looks crazy, but it works the best, honestly. This is a comfort pad with wings. This works really good for long fur dogs and long-term usage. You're gonna see on the micro system here that it has not 1, not 2, but 8 different contact points. Each one of these has the ability to send out a stim level. More importantly, the wings on the end are spring loaded. So as your dog is moving, these wings are moving just like this. And what they do is help maintain consistent contact with your dog. Every time they're running around, this thing's moving around with them. We use a ton of these here for good, consistent contact. So what kind of fur does your dog have? Do you have a short little furred baby pitty who doesn't have much fur? Or do you got a big giant fur ball German Shepherd? Which points are gonna work best for you? Again, I can't stress enough. If these two things are not touching your dog's skin, it's not going to work. And what will happen is you're gonna get inconsistent contact, and you're gonna be going up on your levels, and next thing you know, your dog's gonna flip out and do a scream because it just got contact. So make sure you have good contact. So now we're gonna use Striker to show you how we put it on the dog. So just like you and I, if I put something against your trachea, you're not gonna be able to breathe. So we do not wanna put the collar here on the dog's trachea. What we wanna do is put it off to the side. And what I'm doing like this is showing you is we wanna rotate sides. because we don't want any form of breakdown. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it on this side today and then this side tomorrow. Let's use this guy, our wings. So first things first, put it on the dog, off to the side of the trachea. We're gonna snug down our collar to a point where it's snug enough where we can only get our fingertip in between the contact points and the dog skin. If this collar can swing around like a necklace, it is not on correctly. It must stay stationary in one spot. The last thing I do, because Striker has that nice thick fur in an undercoat, is I take the collar and I just move it around just a little bit to cut through those under layers of fur. That's going to be perfect placement for a remote collar system. When I take it off at the end of the night, I'm going to visually inspect the area underneath, look for any signs of redness or breakdown, and make sure there's nothing funky going on. Remember I told you about some dogs have a localized reaction. We want to make sure that's not one of your dogs so that we can swap out the points. And if you are seeing any form of breakdown, make sure we rotate the sides. Always make sure it's never too tight, and make sure we're inspecting daily. Tons of info, correct? It's not just go buy a collar from Amazon, put it on your dog, push a button, and it does what it's supposed to. Lots of selections, different brands, different strengths, different qualities, different points, where it's gonna fit, how it should fit. I know, I'm overloaded too. And imagine, we do this every day. This is why we broke this series up into at least 3 parts. So now we know what a collar is. We know the different levels. We're figuring out which one we want to buy. We got the right point selection. We know how to put it on our dog. What's next? I'm going to show you how to use the darn thing. I know it's been this long just to show you how to use it. I told you before this would have took at least 2 hours, and nobody wants to sit down for 2 hours and watch a video of me. Let's face it. So if you like this video, make sure you give it the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, because if you don't get notified, you're not going to know about our free content. And we will see you in part 3 of remote collar training video, where we will start showing you how to actually use it on your dog. See you later, guys. Bye.